There are seasons where you outgrow the version of yourself people first met. And that doesn't mean you were wrong. It means you're evolving. Growth changes your language. It changes your standard. It changes what you're willing to tolerate. It changes what you're no longer willing to shrink for. Sometimes you don't need a new idea. You need a new room. Growth doesn't mean you were wrong. It just means that you are ready for more. Do you remember this? Well, I'm back, but not the same. Welcome to the interview room, where real conversations build real growth. Each week, we sit down with amazing business owners and everyday experts to uncover what's really behind the biggest wins, toughest failures, and boldest goals. Because here's the truth. You don't have to have it all figured out to sit in this room. I'm Coach Annie. Let's learn, laugh, and level up together. I started off with Check Yourself podcast because I went with that name because I was like, hey, always want to hold accountability for what you're doing. How do you show up? What are some things that you can self-reflect? But I realized something, that those conversations mattered, but over time something shifted. I realized the most important part of the interview wasn't the questions, it was the thinking behind the answers. And that's when I knew this space needed to evolve. Because I've evolved. When you evolve, your platform should evolve too. So let's talk about the rebrand. Let's talk about why. Let's talk about it. Because rebranding isn't cosmetic, it's clarity. There was a point where I felt myself narrowing, like I had built something solid, but it didn't feel like it fully represent where I was going. And that feeling is subtle. It doesn't feel like failure, it feels like friction. You show up, but something in your belly, something just doesn't feel right. You speak, but you're holding something back. You create, but it doesn't feel expansive. And I had to ask myself, am I staying consistent or am I staying comfortable? Consistency is powerful, but comfort can disguise stagnation. That question changed everything for me. I didn't want to feel boxed into one type of conversation. I didn't want to feel like I had to keep repeating a version of myself that I had already outgrown pretty quickly. Because growth demands expansion, and expansion requires courage. There's a risk in evolving publicly. People like the old version of you because it worked. And sometimes it does work. What works isn't always what's next. This rebrand is about freedom. Freedom to talk about leadership without performance. Freedom to talk about life and progressing without any pressure or feeling like you need to pretend. Freedom to talk ambition without apology. Freedom to talk about decision making, not just outcome. Because success is loud, but growth is quiet. Success is loud, growth is quiet. And I want to talk about the quiet parts. The recalibration seasons, the identity shifts, the moments when you realize I'm not who I used to be. And that's not a loss, it's alignment. So now, the interview room is now a space for real conversations, clarity, clear insight, leadership insight, decision making, identity shifts. Some episodes will be interviews, some will be solo reflections like this. Some will feel like a coaching session because growth doesn't happen in one format. It happens in layers. And here's something I've learned. Most people, most professionals don't need more information. They need perspective. They need someone to articulate what they're already feeling. They need language for the tension, language for the transition, language for the season. Clarity changes how you show up before anything else. I spent over 20 years inside organizations. I've been in rooms where decisions are made. I've watched promotions happen. I've watched talented people get overlooked. I've watched leaders struggle silently. And I noticed something. The difference between movement and stagnation is rarely talent. It's awareness. It's positioning. It's how you communicate your thinking. It's how you show up when there's pressure. It's how you handle moments that aren't rehearsed. Readiness is recognized before it's announced. And most people don't realize they're being evaluated in everyday conversations. Not formally, quietly. That's what we're going to unpack here in this room. So here's the foundation of the show. Life is a series of interviews, not just job interviews. You are interviewing for rooms, opportunities, leadership, influence, trust, alignment, your next version. Every conversation, every meeting, every moment under pressure. The question isn't, are you qualified? The question is, do you know how to show up when it matters? You are being evaluated long before you've officially considered. Take that how you want, but that could be used in relationships too. So this isn't a motivation podcast. This is a clarity podcast. You're not always going to leave here hype. I can promise you that. But sometimes you'll leave here thinking differently. And when your thinking shifts, your presence shifts, your communication shifts, your decision shifts. Thinking differently is really the first promotion. So if you're in a new season, if you're feeling stretched, if you're growing quietly, if you're questioning your next move, you are in the right room. So I want you to do me a favor. I want you to, 1, subscribe, 2, share this with someone who's evolved with, and then come back because we are going to get deeper. This is the interview room where preparation meets opportunity, where clarity creates confidence, and where you learn how to show up when it matters. I'm Coach Annie, and I cannot wait to do this journey with you. I'll see you in the next conversation. Thanks for joining me today in the interview room. I hope you got a little inspiration and maybe even a few aha moments from our conversation. If you loved this episode, don't forget to follow, share it with a friend, and leave a quick review to keep the good vibes going. Remember, you don't need to have it all figured out. Just keep showing up and growing. Until next time, I'm Coach Annie. See you in the next interview.